my presentation will be the winning or earning dilemma. So the role of justice in gamified online community. So my name, as you mentioned, is Tom LECLERCQ. I'm associate professor of marketing at IESEG, so in France. But I come from Belgium, but I'm a professor in France, and so I made my PhD on gamification. So something like now 10 years ago, I started my PhD on gamification, and till that moment, I'm really working on how to apply gamification in different type of contexts. And so today I will discuss a bit about gamification in the context of community. So yeah, first of all, in order to explain a bit what I'm doing is that I'm working in marketing, and in marketing, I'm not working only on clients and or to sell product or to offer product, but I'm also working, I'm more working on the psychological effects of companies' activities. And here, the practice that I'm investigating is gamification, but the way I'm investigating gamification is really the impact of some gamification mechanisms on consumers, motivation, experience, well-being, and all these different impacts may affect their behavior, their performances, the emotion, the relationship they have with others. But so it's really important that what I'm doing, I'm not especially working on the design parts, but I'm more working on how to choose the correct design in order to have an effect on consumers. And when I'm talking about consumers, it's not only client, but it's also some, it may be some learners, it may be shoppers, it may be passion in a healthcare service. So these are a lot of different consumption contexts, and I'm really working on the impact of the different gamification mechanisms, but a lot of these mechanisms. And as I mentioned, I had the opportunity to work in a lot of different contexts during this last decade, and I worked on the application of gamification in call centers, in retailing spaces, in healthcare services, in hospital, in crowdsourcing platform, but also in the banking sectors, for example, where we can apply gamification. And today I will focus myself on one type of application that I have worked a lot on, which is the application on online communities. So this idea about the online communities, so we have a lot of brand communities that may exist where consumer may talk about some brands or some activities. They may share some information, also to advocate for some brand or to advocate for some products, or even share some learning or some way to use some product or service. So online community has now become a very important tool. And why is it important? Because we are today facing a very a revolution in terms of technology. We have seen that we have more and more opportunity for a company to interact with the consumers, but we can see also that the consumers are more active in the relationship with companies. So that means that our customers have today the opportunity to provide information, to collaborate with the company on particular products, but also sometimes they may have a negative impact on their company's activities. So it's important to know that the consumers today with the new technology have really this opportunity to go from a dyadic relationship, so just company to customers, to a network interaction where we'll have customer to company, but also to have some communication among customers. And the online community is really a very nice example of these consumer to consumer interactions. So it's really an opportunity to company to work with this community. However, this is in theory, because in practice, we have a lot of online community who face some lurking phenomenon. So we have a lot of people who are just coming to collect some information or just to observe others' activities, but they are not really active. We see also a very high churn rate. A lot of people just participate once to the community and then stop coming to the community, and this can end up in a ghost town community. So that means in a community where nobody is talking, nobody is doing anything, and there is just the brand with sometimes publishing some information, but nothing is happening. And this is potentially what we can consider the death of the communities, that nobody is interacting anymore in the community. So the idea is that if we want to keep this community, if we want to really interact and continue and sustain the community over time, what we need is that we need to engage members. And engaged community member enable to optimize information sharing. That means that, yeah, we will enable people to exchange some information about the activity, about the brand, about some topic. They will create a dialogue, a social relationship, potentially having some friends in the community. And thanks to this type of dialogue, we will ensure a long-term participation. We will ensure that consumers will not only participate in the community, but will also sustain their participation over time. So engaging consumers in a community is very important. So the question that really drove my work was, which mechanisms enable us to create, manage, and maintain engagement? Of course, you can expect that, yeah, my first idea was to talk about gamification, and it's what I will talk about today. So there are some books about gamification, and we can define. I like to define gamification as the process of using game thinking and game dynamics to engage audience and solve problem. This is Gabe Zickerman. So even if we have some similarities, we can see with the board and the beards, it's not me. But I'm really agree on this idea about, yeah, we want to know why is a game experience so rich, and how we can adapt the benefits of a game experience to a non-game context. And why is it important? Because we have seen that using game enable to activate some intrinsic motivation, so some motivation to do something for the sake of doing it. It may also be used to change behaviors, initiate some learning, developing activity, and even engage consumer toward a specific objects. However, we have also seen in previous study that we have some drawbacks of gamification, and some study report that gamification may have neutral or even counterproductive effects on experience and engagement. You can see sometimes demotivation because you cannot win the game, or you can also have some addiction toward game. So it's important to say that, yeah, gamification may have a negative impact not only on the experience, but also on well-being and on motivation. And so it's difficult then to use gamification to engage people on the long term. Okay, so based on this, it seems that, yeah, we have a lot of study that report that gamification is working, but we have also a lot of study that said that it's not working. So we have to understand, yeah, why is it working, or we can manage gamification in order to reach the expected objective. And so my idea was to know what are the effects of gamification on community engagements. And in order to do this, we had the opportunity to work with an online community. So all my projects start with an issue with a community, from a community or from brands. And here it was the cvous community, which is a French community, brand community. And there they came to us to ask us to investigate why their churn rate was so high. So they had a large community, but they have seen that after some time, the number of participants and the number of interaction was just decreasing. And they explained us that, yeah, unfortunately, they are using a lot of contests that try to really have a lot of gamified practices, but they still see their number of members decreasing, and it's even worse. So we decided to launch an ethnography. So for people that are not used to that term, an ethnography is the fact that we will follow the community during multiple months. We will just follow all the discussion, what is published, and we will also collect all the comments to analyze them and to see, to try to see if there are some issues in the community. And so we collected more than 2,000 comments and we analyzed them. So here it's just some idea about the comment that we had, and we have seen that here when we talk about gamification, we had really two different perspectives about gamification. Some of the respondents reject inequity, so they consider that gamification should be fair, and so it should really reward what you are doing. So if you are making some efforts, if you are doing, if you are the best in a contest, you should be the one who win the contest, which is quite a basic assumption. When you have something that's when you have some people that play to a game, they expect that their efforts will be rewarded. But we also have another type. So on the right side, we have another type of reaction saying that they want to have inequity. They want to have unfair distribution because they are in the community. They are a bit frustrated by the fact that some people just come in the community, participate to the contest, and win something. But they don't know these people. They think that they do not really contribute to the community. They do not really do something for the community. They just come, make a very nice proposition, and then win something. So we can see that we have two different ways of thinking. We have people that really appreciate appreciate equity, and people that prefer to have inequity, that would like to have inequity. And so we say, okay, perhaps that we should go further regarding the type of justice that relates to gamification. How we can manage the justice related aspects about gamification. And so when we talk about justice in gamification, we can see two type of perspective. We can see two perspectives. The inequity, which is more the winning perspective. So that means that we want to do a game that is really challenging. We want really to challenge people. We want to challenge people, and the best can win something. And we really try to work on uncertainty, on challenging tasks, because we know that challenge will really increase your motivation to do something and will really activate a fun experience. Otherwise, we can also work on earning. Earning means that you are part of a community, and beyond the gamification, you are part of a community, and your contribution to the community should be rewarded in a way or another. So we have different type of justice. So equity, if you want, distributive justice, which means that the distributive justice means that you will receive, that everyone will be rewarded for the effort that they make. The procedural justice is more like everyone will be treated equally. So if I can illustrate, we can say that in a distributive justice, a game, all the efforts will be rewarded, and you will be rewarded based on your efforts. In a procedural justice, it means that you will be treated as the other. So every submission will be treated as the other. So they will not have any people that will be privileged or that will have a special treatment. No, everyone will be treated in the same way. So what we did in order to go a bit in depth regarding this idea about justice, because here we just identify these two types of justice, but we do not really know what is happening. We decided to collaborate with another community to try to see if it's working in another community, and we try to conduct a field experiment. So a field experiments mean that we'll create different conditions, so different group of people, and different group of people will participate to different type of contests, and different type of contests, and we will then measure the impact that we have. It's a bit like the same of having a A/B testing. And so we decided to work with the So-Girly community. So just to know, So-Girly, it's a community that is well known for it's well known as a community for lifestyle related topic, really oriented to women. So it's 100% women who can be member of this community. That's really oriented to our product like makeup or or fashion style. So one of the good things is that thanks to this, I now I know how to use an eyeliner. I also know the new fashion style, and you can see that I do not especially apply them. But thanks to our collaboration with the community, we had the opportunity to also launch our experiments. And not that experiments, the experiment was presented like this. So 1 week before the Valentine's Day, we informed the member of the community that we organize a community contest. And the community contest was, the idea was to publish a picture that represents love. And based on this, people were rewarded. And in order to give them more information, so from the moment that people accepted to participate to the contest, so just with this first line, we allocate them to different groups, and the different groups, so you are part of one or the other groups, but you cannot be part of two groups at the same time. So from the moment that you are part of the groups, you have more information about the contests. And so we have 4 different groups, and we have a first group with low procedural justice and low distributive justice. And there we just say to people, okay, you participate to the contest, there is no winner, no loser, you just participate for fun. So just publish something and we will give you a winner, but there is nothing to win, nothing to lose. Then we have the high procedural justice and low distributive justice. Well, there we say to people, okay, the winner of the contest will be randomly drawn. So it's like a lottery. So we just say, okay, so we will not really, everyone will be treated in the same way, and but we will not especially reward the best submission, just a lottery. Then we have the low procedural justice and high distributive justice. So the winner is selected by other committee members. So here we know that everyone will not be treated in the same way, because if you are a committee member for a long time, it means that you know the participant, and so potentially you may be some advantage there. So we know that the procedural justice is not ensured, but we have high distributive justice because you will be also rewarded if you do a good submission. And finally, we have the high procedural and high distributive justice, where the winner is selected by an external jury. So you can see here that we have 4 very different contests, and we will see which one is the best one in terms of customer experience, in terms of engagement, community, and intention to engage further. So they just after participating, people had the opportunity to complete a questionnaire where we measure experience, community engagement, intention to engage further. And so this is just what we tested. So the impact of the gamification justice on the experience, and we assume that the experience have an impact to their engagement to engage further to the community. And we wanted to know if our results may be different according to the fact that you are a new member of the community, so you are low level of engagement in the community, or if you are an old member of the community, so you are highly engaged for the community, you are engaged for a long time with the community. So this is just the results. We do not especially care about the table, and of course, if you want to go further with the results, I can give you more information. But the idea is really on the right side to explain that what we have seen is that high distributive justice is harmful for the experience and engagement. That means that when people perceive that they will be rewarded based on their efforts, it's not that good impact on the experience. But if they are considered are treated in the same way that the other, then we have a positive impact. So it will be better for them, and our results also show that it's this effect is especially true for new members of the community. Just to make it more to clarify the results, because it was just the finding, but to clarify the result, what does that mean? That means that in a social context, based on our results, we show that in a social context, you should not use every type of contest in an interchangeable way. So you should really consider what type of contest you should use, and you should adapt the type of contest to the type of effect that you expect. And what we suggest is to minimize the distributive justice to guarantee uncertainty, because we have seen that challenge is very important, and doing something that challenging is mean that potentially you will not be rewarded for your efforts, but you really have to reach the objective. So we have seen that it's important to ensure some uncertainty and propose some difficult challenges. But at the same time, we also show that in terms of the process to identify the winner, is better to use the lottery system. So having something that will not be only focused on your performance, but also something that it will be random. So it's something that is important, and we have seen that the fact of having the procedural justice. So you need to provide some evidence that all the different participants are treated in the same way. So this is something that is important. The main takeaway of my presentation today is that you should have two different types of strategy depending of your expected results. So if you want to socialize newcomers in your community, you should use the winning strategy, which means that you will use a contest where the winners are randomly drawn. Why? Because for newcomers, what is important is really to know that they will be treated as the other, because as they are new in the community, they don't want to be treated in a more negative way because they are not old in the community. But at the same time, you also ensure that they have a chance to win. So you should use some lottery, for example, for the newcomers. But if your objective is not this, but rather to entertain other members, then you should use the earning strategy, which is to do some contests where the winners are selected by a jury. And then if it's selected by a jury or elected by other participants, then you really use this earning strategy. And so you can see here two different types of strategy that may be different according to your objective. That's it. So that's it for my presentation. Of course, this is a paper that has been published in Journal of Marketing Management. But if you need more information about some part of this presentation, or if you need more information about this approach of gamification, please do not hesitate to contact me on LinkedIn or by mail. I would be really happy to share more information with you.
Great. Wow. Thank you very much indeed, Thomas. Really very interesting, isn't it? What an interesting study that you've done. So how long did the study take you?
Oh, a lot of time. It took for 3 years in total. 3 years with 4 people working on it in order to make it. Here it's of course a part of the entire study, but we had something like 6 communities that has been explored in order to see that our effects are the same in the different communities.
And I'd like to explore your findings a bit more, because you're introducing, obviously if you spent 3 years on it, you're deep in, whereas we're coming to this kind of, possibly a lot of people are coming to this quite fresh. So just if you were to take something that's a very kind of well-known type of gamified community, so something like Stack Overflow, or as we heard earlier in the day, some of the ones we've seen, how would you describe those in terms of your terminology of distributive versus procedural justice?
Yeah, most of the time, many communities, online communities, reward the fact of putting a comment. So you receive, for example, some points because you put a comment, you put the like, and so you receive some points. And there we are already in a distributive justice aspect. Why? Because you do something and you receive something in return.
Okay.
This is something that may work. The only thing is that you do not fully, I would say, grasp the opportunity of gamification doing this, because it will work at the beginning because it's new. Because over time, from the moment that you collected 1,000 points, you don't care about receiving one more point. The idea is that why don't you put a challenge, for example, and having more complex gamification where you will not only collect points, but potentially having some milestone that happen now more and more, some milestone that you can reach, some badges, which is something done. So this idea about, most of the community today just use a very simple gamification, just collecting a very high distributive justice. But we have shown that potentially putting some uncertainty, putting some difficult challenge may really give you the opportunity to increase your performance.
Okay, so if you were kind of recommending the results of what you've learned in your study to the makers of Stack Overflow, what sort of things might you encourage them to do?
I really would advise them to put things like challenges, so really high challenges, so not some level. For example, if I remember well, for example, the Lego community did something like this, so having some badges and level, and you were, for example, part of the Viking team, and because you reach a certain level, and so they really go to that idea to have, everyone will not reach the objective, and we are happy about this. So this is really this idea about putting high challenges. And so it's a bit like, if I can summarize it, it's a bit like the idea about no pain, no gain. Is that you have to put very high challenges, and because putting high challenges make things really fun and insights.
Okay, good. That's a great. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I got you. And actually, we've got a question here. So Albert's got a question, so I'll pull that one up. So Albert's question is expectation bias could be dealt with. So it's quite a technical question. Maybe if you understand it, maybe if you could explain the question and then give your answer.
Yeah, if I understand it well, but please, Albert, do not hesitate to correct me. But the idea is that if first you expect you expect something from the community, or you expect something from the game, you may feel that it's fair or unfair the way it's done. For example, if I expect from the community to value my performance, to value my contribution to the community, potentially I may have different way of perceiving the gamification. That's true. That's totally true, and we have seen it in other studies that, for example, we have seen that people that are in the community for a longer time, so for a long time, they will really expect to be valued for their contribution. And so for them, potentially they will not expect to have very high challenge, because they say that, they should really be valued for just being there. They just want to say, I'm here for 10 months, and I want from you to value me for this, and not just for participating to a contest. But I mean, this is something that's the expectation bias is something that's happens, and we have to follow some personas regarding this.
Yeah, very good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, it's there's a great advert in that they had in the UK a couple of years ago where the existing customer goes in to see the insurance company, pretending that they're a new customer in order to get the best deal. It sort of reminds me of that a little bit. We're all part of something, and we want to make sure it's fair, whether you're new or old, don't we? That's,
exactly.
Yeah.
Fully agree with you, and this is really deciding.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. I think it's so important. I mean, I do think that as gamification people, we are involved in not just engagement and fun, but we're also involved in justice, in providing experiences that allow people to come together in a fair and equitable manner that fits the context. So it's great to have your research inputting into that, and I really look forward to what's coming next. So Thank you very much indeed, Thomas, for joining us. It's been really great. Thank you.
Thank you to you.